If you're looking for a sign, if you're looking for something to tell you when to start, this is it. The time to start is right here. Can I talk to you for a minute? No, I mean like really talk to you, because I feel like this video is going to unlock something inside of you. You keep saying that you're stuck. You keep saying that you're waiting on a sign. Well, baby, guess what? The sign is here right now. That dream, that business, that ministry, that book. God already told you what to do. Now it's time for you to move with purpose. So if you're ready to stop shrinking and finally show up, type start in the chat. You're not lazy. You're just avoiding your calling. Look, we've all been there. So let me encourage you. You're not behind. You're not unmotivated. You're avoiding the weight of your calling. And yes, it's heavy. I get it. And I want to discuss with you 3 signs that you might be shrinking. You might be running away from your calling. For example, you keep researching, but you never launch. You have a whole book on a topic. You know that topic like no one else, yet you've not created any content about that topic. That could actually be a sign that you have a fear of starting, a fear of growing. And I want to encourage you to keep going. I want you to give yourself permission to go. Yes, to go and to grow. Here's another sign that you're afraid to start. You rewrite the same to-do list every week, but you never complete any of the items on your to-do list. Why is that? On top of that, you help everyone else build their dream, but you don't touch yours. Remember, you have permission to go and to grow, and I want to encourage you to do that today. Let's talk about delayed disobedience, you all. If God has told you to do something and you're kind of slow, you're slothful, delayed obedience is still disobedience. Let me talk to you, love. If God gave you an instruction and you're still sitting on it, that's a delay. It's still disobedience, and you need to correct that. 3 ways this will show up in your life. God said start that nonprofit, but you're still waiting on a perfect logo. Look, a logo is not going to serve God's people. You serve God's people. You can always perfect that logo as you go. God said speak, but you're worried about your voice. When I first started at a college and I was one of the instructors, I had a bachelor's degree. Now, I've been teaching for years with a bachelor's degree, but there was degreeism. People had their master's and their doctorate degrees, and they would try to silence my voice because I was the one there with a bachelor's degree. But can I tell you, I was the one there with a bachelor's degree, with a business, and I had been creating content for years. So while they wouldn't let me speak because they were worried about me speaking and not having the degree that their system required, guess what? God removed me from their system. And now I get to speak to millions around the world, and they don't care about my degree. So when God says for you to speak, I don't need you worried about your voice. I need you to do what God has commanded you to do so that you can move in purpose. And now let's talk about moving. God told you to move, but you're still asking for 5 confirmations first. So you are delaying your blessing. You're delaying what God has told you to do. That's disobedience. So I want you to say it with me. I'm moving when God says move. Say it one more time. I'm moving when God says move, not when I feel like I'm ready. Next, let's talk about you don't need another sign. You need a strategy. You all, I am a master strategist. I can grow businesses. I have been doing what I do now for decades. And so I want to recommend to you, if you have a business that is stagnant, if you have a brand that is not moving, you don't need another sign. You need a strategy. You don't need another YouTube video. You don't need to watch another tutorial. You don't need another course. You don't need another idea. You need courage and a clear next step. So I want you to try this. I want you to write down 3 things that God has told you to do. And then I want you to pick one. And I need for you to take that first step within 48 hours. You can do it. Remember, obedience is a strategy. Babies, you can't fly with folks who are afraid of heights. Look, we have turtles and we have eagles, and some of our eagles are getting advice from turtles. I need for you to move with what God has told you to do. So let me encourage you again. You're taking flight, but you are slowing down what you're supposed to be doing because you keep hanging out with turtles. Look, everybody can't go with you. Let me say that again. Everybody can't go with you. And no, it's not personal. Some people just can't support what they've never seen. They've never seen a unicorn. They've never seen a nurse who wanted to leave the bedside to become a content creator. They've never seen a nurse who now owns training businesses globally. They've never seen it. And so they're going to tell you things like, be realistic. Oh no, girl, slow down. That's too much. Too soon. Something that I hear a lot is, oh girl, you're doing too much. But I hear, oh girl, you're doing too much from people who ain't doing nothing at all. So I need you to understand their perspective as a turtle, and I still need for you to rise. And something else you're going to hear, especially if you're the person in your family who breaks generational curses, is going to be, no one in our family ever did that. Well, guess what? Say it loud, you all. I don't need permission to rise. Let me tell you that your story is someone's survival guide. Do you even look at yourself as a survivalist, as a warrior? All the things that you went through, I want you to think about it. It just wasn't for you. It was for the next person also. So your story is the map that someone else is praying for. The problem is you won't share your story. You're afraid to share your testimony because you're worried about how people are going to think about you. Well, let me tell you this. They're going to talk about you whether you share your testimony or not. They're going to talk about you whether you share your testimony and share it with God's kingdom or not. Something else that I'm seeing right now is that people who are like, oh, don't talk about what has happened to you, or don't share I understand don't share your next move, but some of you all don't share anything. You just make it seem like you're just all perfect. And look, that's not benefiting anybody. I know that as a content creator, as a business owner, as a single mom, as a nurse, as an African American, there are struggles. And if you just show up on camera and act like your world is perfect, you're doing a disservice for God's people. So let's talk about the 3 reasons or the 3 ways that your story matters. You overcame depression. You overcame depression. Someone's still in the dark. Why aren't you talking about how you overcame your depressive state? Next, you walked away from a toxic job or a toxic relationship, but you won't tell anyone how you gained the strength to do so. So that means that someone else is still stuck because you won't share your story. Next, you became a nurse. That's right. You became a nurse. You were able to change your future. You were able to change the trajectory of your children's lives. Yet you see all these young ladies, you see these young men who don't have career goals or career ambitions, and you won't say nothing about your story. I hope listening to me talk about the ways in which your story matters encourages you to talk about your story. Look, you don't have to tell everything. I'm not going to call out the person who had a whole mini series on TikTok, like 26 episodes. No, if God didn't call you to that, that's not what you're doing. But you can show up and you can say something. And so I want you to speak this into existence. My story will not go to waste. Say it again. My story, I want you to personalize it, will not go to waste. This is a biggie. I want you to listen to me. It's time to do it scared. Who told you that confidence had to come first? Baby, do it scared. Shake, cry, post, repeat. Be afraid at every level. Remember, if everything that you have, if everything that you need is within you, the confidence, the people, the team, if you have all of that, that means that you would not be dependent on God. And so I need for you to do it scared. It is okay to start right where you are. You don't have to be perfect. Look, every video that I shot on my way to getting 1 million YouTube subscribers, I shot with a camera phone. It wasn't until I wanted to go and have a TV show that now I needed to go to a new level. And God provided me with the person to help me do so. Baby, do it scared. Shake, cry, post, and repeat. I want to say that again. Shake, cry, post, and repeat. But start. You don't have to be perfect to start. Perfection is something that the enemy uses in order to keep you stagnant. Some of you all are afraid to move because you don't want to be a novice at anything. Everything you do, you want to start at the top. Can I tell you I've reinvented myself 20 times? And so if every time I do something, I want to be the best at it, that means that I'm never going to start. That means that I'm always worried about the competition. When people come to me and they say, well, this is saturated. Saturated for who? If that was the case, content creation was saturated, but yet God made a place for me just like He'll make a place for you. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to do it scared. Go live, even if your hands tremble. As a matter of fact, let me teach you this technique. Whenever you're nervous, even if you're at a business event, what you're going to do is you're going to plant your feet flat on the floor. You're going to put your hands on the table just like I'm doing now. And when you get nervous, press down. No one knows you're nervous because all they see is your smile and the words that are coming out of your mouth. So again, I'm going to tell you that when you're nervous and you're shaking, you can do it. It's okay to do it scared. All right, so how can you do it scared? You're going to go live. Look, I had a business owner in here. I was interviewing her this week and she's like, girl, I've never gone live before. And guess what I did? I pressed that live button because if you're hanging around with me, you're not hanging around with a turtle. You're hanging with an eagle. And guess what? We're going to fly and we're going to do it scared. We're going to do it when it's not perfect. And you know what? God will make it perfect. Or you're going to hire an editor like Mav. And Mav will make it perfect, but go ahead and start. Don't be afraid to tell your story, even if your voice shakes. Remember, someone needs to hear this story. Someone needs your story to help them along the way, and they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for someone they can trust, and that's you. Let me recap that. I want you to go live even if your hands tremble. I want you to tell your story even if your voice shakes. Post the thing. What are you afraid to post for? Look, we have a lot of people who are not as smart as you, not as talented as you. They're posting, they're saying things that you may not agree with. You don't have to go word for word or argue with them. Just post what God told you to post, even if it's not perfect, okay? No one's aiming for perfection. I just need you to do it, even if you're scared. With that being said, I want you to say this with me. I'm doing it afraid, but I'm doing it anyway. That is right. I'm doing it afraid, but I am doing it anyway. Let me speak to you, your purpose, and your pocket. You've been praying for provision, but ignoring the income stream inside of your own assignment. Turn your story into a course. Turn your process into a pocket. Turn your wisdom into a workshop. Say it boldly this time. I prosper in my purpose unapologetically. That's right. You're not asking anyone's permission to walk in your purpose. And now for the final push, I need for you to start, you all. I need for you to declare this with me. This is your confirmation. This is your reminder. And this is your sign. Somebody is waiting for you to wake up and show up. So today, I need you to do one thing, and you get to decide that one thing. Will it be registering your LLC? Will it be posting a video? Will it be finally building your web page? You all, it doesn't have to be hard. Artificial intelligence can build your website in 2 minutes, but you actually have to create the account. Will you at least do that today? Or let's say there's a partnership. Let's say there is someone you want to get to know. Send that email, reach out to someone. And if you don't know what to put in the email, guess what? AI can help you with that too. So there are no excuses. If you're hanging with me, if you're hanging with the boss nurse, no excuses. I need for you to do it. So here's my final call to action. If you're ready to step into your purpose, and you want help with launching your course, your content, or your business, I want you to connect with me. My name is Eunice. I go by Nurse Eunice, and I help business owners, nurses, content creators, not just start a business, but grow their brands and their business. And if you want to be a part of my team, if you want to work with me, I need for you to go to my website. That information, of course, is going to be on the screen, but it's also going to be in the description area. And that is bossnurseacademy.com. If you're ready to go to the next level, if you're ready to start, I want you to drop "I'm ready" in the comments if this message was for you. If I can do it as a nurse, as a mother, and a woman who once doubted herself, you can too. Start with your name, your license, your story, and your audience. You already have the tools. You already have the story. I need for you to share it. At Boss Nurse Academy, I teach nurses, caregivers, entrepreneurs, and educators how to build businesses, create content, and create digital income streams. We have a new Scrubs to CEO class that's going to be starting soon, and I'd love to help you boss up your life too. So register now at bossnurseacademy.com. Let's get it. Let's share our stories. Let's grow together, and let's boss up. Look, let's get it. Let's grow, and let's boss up. See you in the next video.